All right, Jeff Zimmerman here with the legend, Sugar Ray Leonard, five-time division world champ, 1976 Olympic gold medalist. I'm also here with Doug Ward, VP of Branding and Fighter Relations for Title Boxing. How you doing, guys?
I'm trying to. I'm okay.
I got to do that too.
All right, Doug.
You're both looking strong, man. You're both looking strong. But listen, Ray and Doug, thanks so much for doing this. And I know that you guys have had a huge collaboration take place with Title Boxing, the Sugar Ray Leonard Collection. Can't think of a better name. Let me ask you first, Ray, how excited were you to put your name, your brand, your legendary status, and tie in with a line like Title Boxing?
Doug and I have been talking about this for quite some time, years, and he brought it up. But one day he brought it up, and I said, "Yeah, hey, let's do that, man. I want to be involved with that, you know." And it was just an incredible, let's say, coming back. I remember things. I mean, vividly. I mean, something took place like I don't know, 10, 20 years ago. Uh, it's like my wife. My wife said, "Go upstairs and get my purse or whatever." I go upstairs and I said, "What does she want?" These thing I remember the gloves, and I wanted to be a part of that. It's amazing, man.
Well, that's something we talked about from the very beginning. Ray was like, if we're going to do this, let's do something that creates a moment, brings back a memory. And that's what this whole glove line was based on. Can we spark that recollection, evoke a specific memory, a feeling, an emotion that moment in time brought out. And that's what we've tried to do with this entire line.
I guess, the fact that I've had nothing short of an illustrious boxing career, but there are certain fights that comes to mind, man. And it's like, wow, man. And like, I used to, like Roberto Duran, I didn't like him, I swear, because he would talk trash, he would curse, he would do this, do that. We're friends. We're deep up, real friends. I speak with him every few months. Tommy Hearns calls me. We talk, I don't know, like once or twice a week. Um, Sorry about Marvelous Marvin Hagler, but hey, life is good, man.
What fight sticks out to you back then, Ray? Because you were an Olympic gold medalist. You had the fights with Duran, Leonard, or I'm sorry, Hagler, Hearns. Which fight sticks out the most?
You know, the Olympic gold medal. That was priceless. I mean, guys can say I was a world champion, but the Olympic gold medal was just, for me, personally speaking, was awesome, man, because I had no thoughts of becoming a professional fighter. The Olympics was the ultimate. I mean, guys say, well, I was champion here, I was this champion there, but very few people can say I was an Olympic gold medalist. You know what I mean? It's just, well, for me, personally speaking, that's how I felt. But now, looking back, bringing this up, making this real, um, the fights I had with Tommy Hearns, no question about that, was especially the first one. I don't know about the second one. Roberto Duran, beast. Guys, I can't even articulate how hard he hit Marvelous Marvin Hagler, who people thought I was crazy at the time because I had suffered a partially detached retina. But it was okay. My ophthalmologist said, Ray, if you want to come back, you can come back. And based upon that, and Marvelous Marvin Hagler, incredible guy. God bless him. Yeah, man. Yeah. Boxing was so powerful, big.
Yeah, and Doug, why? Obvious reasons, but why was Sugar Ray like just the ultimate person for this project?
Well, again, Ray and I have a relationship and a history together. He's just look at him. Look what he did for the sport of boxing. He was on the greatest Olympic team of all time. He did things in the sport nobody else has ever done in terms of coming back, and he fought the best in his division, the Durans, the Hearns. Just those accomplishments alone set him apart from any fighter in my mind.
Yeah, and Ray, talk about, and Doug, talk about the line a little bit, because I looked at the different gloves, and I would imagine, Ray, like you mentioned the Olympics and seeing, putting on those gloves and, just going through those memories. What was that like? And even the Hagler and the Hearns fights and Duran.
Let me show you something. Because yeah,
Oh, you
these
got it. You got it. You
these,
got it.
this is. I don't want to get too emotional, guys. But I mean, the Olympics, again, I say the Olympics, man, is the ultimate. It's the ultimate. You're up against the best guys in the world. And I mean, I just remember it like it was yesterday. Because there was a guy, well, actually, the Cubans were dominating. They dominated, annihilated everybody for the most part. And I know I fought Aldous Adamas. And winning that gold medal, having that gold medal draped around my neck, the national anthem being played, because it wasn't about money, it wasn't about fame, it was about representing myself and my country. And guys, this is it.
And see, we replicated the USA on the back that they had on their jerseys.
Oh, yeah.
Inside the palm bar, it shows has his signature on one, and on the other it says Montreal 1976. And so we just kind of captured that moment in time again, just creating a memory for anybody that buys the gloves or is looking at them. It creates an emotion immediately.
I wish I was there with you guys. I can really show you how.
Next time in person, Sugar. Next time.
Okay, bro.
Now, those gloves can be used for actual training and sparring.
Oh yeah, because yeah, because I used to have bad hands, knuckles, and with these, I mean, I can hit my back and go through my whole motion. Brings again, I'm redundant, but it brings back so many memories. This is like, to me, priceless.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, and seeing that come out on TitleBoxing.com is amazing. Now, your pro career, Sugar Ray, is legendary. You mentioned the fights with Duran, the fights with Hearns. It's hard to pick some. The fight with Hagler, which I was just reading today, 46 out of 50 in the press. Thought you were probably crazy and were going to lose, but those were the fights that made you legendary. Fighting those guys, you were already a great fighter, but you became a legend by taking on those guys. What has changed in boxing, from not only just like the gloves and the equipment, but from the fighters? Like, this is a different era.
There's so much talent out there. I mean, sometimes I can't figure it out why the champions don't fight champions. And again, so much talent. I'm not going to say names, but there's just so much incredible talent out there. And when I watch these young men, well, almost kids to me,
yeah.
That old, but no, they just got to fight. They just got to compete against each other. They say, I'm the best, show it. Show you the best.
Yeah.
With me, it just got to step up to the plate.
You weren't afraid to lose. I mean, is that it?
That wasn't even on my mind. I don't even think about that. The people ask me all the time, say, were you thinking about losing? No, I wouldn't go in there if I thought I would be losing or I could lose. But the things with Marvelous Marvin Hagler and Duran was my first professional loss. And Duran was like, I don't know, he was a Tasmanian devil, man. He hit me with so many punches. I swear, guys, I said, who else is in this ring? Because I thought it felt like 2-3 guys I was fighting. That was his whole, I don't know, his power.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy Hearns, same thing. Tommy Hearns. Again, we're all friends now. But Tommy Hearns was just a beast, man. Tommy was like a freak of nature. I mean, Tommy's like 6'2". His arms, his power, his speed to be so tall was amazing. And knockout power, no question about that. And with Hagler, Marvin Hagler was he was a beast too. I've always looked up to Marvin, big time.
You were losing that first fight to Hearns. I think, is that the famous fight where Angelo Dundee
You're
said you're
blowing
it?
Yeah, and the thing about Angelo Dundee, my trainer back in the day, he said the right thing. He said, "You're blowing it, son. You're blowing." He had the right sound bite, and it just that's all he had to say. You know, he didn't have to talk or scream. He was calm, collected, and confident that I could do that if I, go the next level, go the next level. And Tommy, I tell you, man, that was one of the tough, if not the toughest fight of my boxing career.
Well, I know we talked about fights not happening. You said champions fighting champions, but if this is to be true, there's some breaking news that Spence Crawford, the long-awaited super fight, may be taking place June 17th in Las Vegas. What are your thoughts on that fight if it does indeed happen? Welterweights, I know, Spence got compared to you coming out of the Olympics. What are your thoughts on that fight, Ray?
Put it this way, I'm gonna keep this nice and simple. I'll be there. Okay. What do you think?
What do I think of the fight? Well, I'm in Dallas, so I'm a little bit of a homer, having seen him up close. Listen, I've always been when two guys are equal, I always kind of go with the bigger guy, traditional, right? That's usually how people look at it. It's 50-50, but if I had to put my life on it, I would go with EJ.
Well, let's see. Go ahead, Doc.
Crawford's about an hour and a half from Kansas City, so he's our hometown guy. We've kind of adopted him because we don't have anybody. I've seen him in person several times. He's just an exceptional fighter. Like Duran, he's got that junkyard dog in him. You back him into a corner, and he's just gonna fight with everything he's got. And I think I think Haney might be a little bit shocked by that. I don't know if he's fought somebody that has that kind of tenacity and that kind of raw determination.
Yeah. It's like at that level. I mean, certain fighters have things that other fighters don't have, and things you can't teach. It's like that intestinal fortitude. It's like that thing. I call it a thing because there's no word for it. Because again, very few fighters have that, and they can bring that out. I can't wait to see it.
No prediction though, huh, Sugar Ray?
No prediction. If I was fighting, I can give you a prediction.
Well, I'm glad you asked that. How would these guys fare up against the four kings and you especially?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, I would win. You know, I'm not being funny. I'm not being, I train to win. I do everything that's necessary to win. And I break him down. I break down the fighter, his strong points, his weak points, his speed, his power, his resilience, all those things. I mean, it's like there. And I prepare for that fight. It's like I choreographed the fight.
I was trying to think today, Ray, like who in boxing is like you? Speed, power, ring generalship, IQ, and you got that smile, the $1 million looks. I grew up with the 7-Up commercials, and then you get in the ring and you turn to this killer. Yeah. Is there anybody that's been in boxing the last 30, 40 years that you think is similar to you?
You know what? We all have our style. We all have our, I don't know what. They have that thing. I always call it a thing because that's what it is. It's a thing. You can't describe it. You can't break it down. Like back in the day, we were on 15 rounds. I mean, that additional 3 rounds. That's a lot, man. Instead of 12 rounds, 15 rounds, they did it for health and for safety. Because they figure that going 15 rounds, you're so fatigued that you could possibly get hurt. I say that. You can possibly get hurt. Yeah. But, again, there's so much talent, natural talent, that boxing is still my favorite sport. No question about that.
And there's another fight coming up too, Ray, Tank and Ryan.
Yeah. I mean, those kind of fights like that. It's like when I fought Tommy. It's like when I fought Hagler, when I fought Duran. I mean, the anticipation, that makes it even better. The entire anticipation of that particular fight. Can't wait to see it. I mean, Vegas was like my guy, my place, man, my second home, because the fights I've had there were just very competitive, extremely competitive. But I love it. I still love the sport. I still work out, I still hit the bags and everything. Just don't I don't get hit back.
Now you obviously, we're talking about the gloves and the new line, Sugar Ray Collection here with Sugar Ray Leonard. How much better of a fighter do you think you would have even been with better equipment, better ways to train, because you always hear about the old school training with, the running, the sit-ups, the push-ups. It's a different time for that.
Well, for me, it was like protecting the hand, just the right thing in the glove and thumb. I mean, it was a dream come true, and I would have been even a better fighter. I truly believe, if that was wrong.
Well, those are my favorite gloves, the ones he's got on now, the throwback gloves.
Yeah.
Those are when you were fighting, when you were coming up training, they didn't have the big bulky super bag gloves. They had that low profile glove. This glove was based on gloves I used to wear when I worked out.
Yeah. Oh,
you remember those, Ray?
Absolutely.
That was it. That's all there was to it.
Yeah.
But again, the nice thing about those is Ray prefers those to this day because, you can really feel your shots. You can feel them land on the bag. You can feel that you're landing with your knuckles solid. It's a whole different experience than a bigger glove.
I mean, really, it's there. I love these.
They look good on you, man. The glove fits, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Ray, you were the A side, I think, probably in every fight in your career. I mean, honestly, right? I mean, and you negotiated like nobody back in the day from the Hagler fight, 15 to 12 rounds, the bigger ring. You kind of won some of these fights before you even got in the ring. Can you speak to the Ryan and Tank rehydration clause and what you thought of that?
Well, I tell fighters this all the time, even young guys especially. I say you have to believe in yourself, because if you don't, no one else will. And train like every fight's a championship fight. You guys get me so emotional here, because I think back when I go back like in my career, and I think of the things that I had and I brought up. I pat myself on the back, because it requires so much. I mean, this is it, man. This is it. No question about that.
Would you have ever negotiated a rehydration clause back in the day? You guys weighed in the same day, though.
It was more psychological. It's 12 rounds or 15 rounds. We did it based upon what we thought would give me an edge, or this or that. Take it on stride.
Yeah. And you talked about the late, great Marvin Hagler. I remember being in the green room with you and Richard Steele a few years back in Vegas. And Marvin came in and he didn't want to do that photo op. Even to that day, there was still some bitterness from that fight. But that fight is 36 years Thursday, April 6, 1987. Wow. And Richard Steele has said in the past, like on Legendary Nights, the more and more he watches it, the closer and closer it gets. And he thought you won the fight. What do you say to that?
Everyone has their own idea or thoughts. Put it this way. I won the fight just by going the distance. To me, I'm saying this from a personal perspective, from my point of view. Marvin Hagler, I mean, first of all, back in the day, he never got his just due. And when I retired, this is ironic, because when I retired, he was the man. He was the guy to say, he's the one, he's the guy. and then we fought, and then he was expected to win by what, 90% or maybe more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but again, my fight, the way I fought that fight, the only way I could win that fight like that was to kind of be more psychological, use my hand speed, use my foot speed. And because again, no one thought, because I've been out the ring for like 5 years. I think it was five. I think I had one fight in 5 years. And back then I was sad. As much as I had accomplished, I was sad because then I was into alcohol, drugs. I mean, I was really some of the people that saw me, some of my friends, sports writers and everything, they saw me out there. And, I thank them because they didn't drill me, but they kind of mentioned it, that I was an alcoholic or a drug addict or whatever. But thank God, I go to my AA meetings even today, and it's you know what? I wouldn't be here, but boxing was what made me who I am. It kept me safe. It kept me dedicated.
Yeah. Well, and to Marvin, Ray, don't you think it's probably more difficult for him to win a close fight, something that was not as just definitive? I lost. It's easier to take a loss when you're like, man, I got smoked, than it is to lose something that big of a fight that is that close.
Because when you fight, especially if you're a champ, the fight goes that way. If that's considered that close of a fight, it goes towards the champ, right? Mm-hmm. And I understood what he's saying, and I understood his pain. I understood his pain after the fight was over with, because he Marvin Hagler to me was one of the best, if not the best, champions out there, man. No question. I say this in all sincerity. He was. I remember when him and Tommy Hearns fought, and I said, I can fight. I can beat both these guys again. But then again, I saw the fight and how Hagler came back with that big right hand. And I said, nope, I'm not going to fight him. I can't fight him.
You were ringside, right?
I was working with HBO.
Yeah.
And I watched that fight. And after that fight, I went and got me a couple of drinks.
How important was that win, though, for your legacy, beating Hagler?
It went beyond that. It went beyond. It wasn't about just beating Hagler, but that was an accomplishment. Again, just going the distance, it's within itself. Because even my people thought, guys in my camp thought that I was gonna get hurt. And I think one of the concerns was they felt that if I got seriously injured, that would hurt the sport. The sport would hurt the sport of boxing. I never went there. I almost did. I kind of thought people saying, Ray, you shouldn't do that. And then I remember my mom crying, my wife crying. I mean, people were very concerned about my ability to stay in the ring against one of the greatest fighters, if not the greatest, marvelous Marvin Hagler.
And we'll wrap up here, Ray. I'm here with the legendary Sugar Ray Leonard, just one of the GOATs. But I got to ask you, Sugar Ray, because I feel like the younger generation, the more time passes, people kind of start to forget the history. They only know what's recent, right? You grew up in a time with Muhammad Ali, the GOAT. And he meant so much to you in your life and how you went about everything. Can you just talk about Muhammad Ali for a minute?
Muhammad Ali, I first met him, God, I was like 18, 19, and I was an amateur boxer at the time. And I presented him with an award because what happened, the original guy, something happened, got sick or whatever. And all of a sudden I'm sitting at his table, I should say. And all of a sudden he sits down beside me and he looks at me, he said, hey. He said, I heard about you. He said, you like sex? I said, sometimes. I mean, for my idol to ask me that, but he meant so much to me. I mean, he meant so much to me. And when we lost him, I was proud, but I just said he opened the doors for me to become who I am. If it wasn't for Muhammad Ali, there wouldn't be any Sugar Ray Leonard. He was family to me, truly family, and I loved him.
Wow, wow. I know how much you admired him, and just I've talked to you about some of it in the past. But Sugar Ray, Doug, I appreciate you doing this. You got the new Sugar Ray collection out on Title Boxing. There's some more stuff to drop. We've already seen some of the gloves here. You got some bags, jump rope, I believe, reflex bag coming out. So more to come. Any closing words, Ray?
Go for it.
Go for it.
Go for
You
it.
heard it here. Guys, thank you so much. Go check out the collection. Ray, I hope to see you soon, and best of luck. And Doug, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.